Today is our last episode of the year. So we are going to be making some predictions about what we think is going to happen next year. What's going to happen in the world, in the profession, at Acuity, and maybe even for us personally.
Okay.
I like that. All of that here on Drink What You Think. The happy hour conversation between a couple of guys who are building their accounting firm in really weird ways. I'm your host, Kenji, along with my trusty co-host, Matthew, to talk about all this craziness. Matthew, who's our sponsor today?
Drink What You Think today is brought to you by our friends at FreshBooks, specifically our bestie, Alex Miles. FreshBooks has long been known as one of the favorite invoicing platforms for freelancers everywhere, and their progress into a general ledger has really caught accountants by surprise. Talk to our bestie, Alex Miles, and she's going to talk to you about the accountant program at FreshBooks.
Nice. Very, very nice, Matthew. And especially we wanted to do this because right now, while we're recording this, our buddy Alex is a little under the weather. She's, I think, got some strep throat. Probably
Feel good.
Feel good.
And it is.
We're gonna feel better. We're gonna feel better.
Well, I would feel better if Kenji had shared the beer that Alex had got to us. But I'm going to be drinking a Blue Moon as an alternative out of a glass, just out of principle.
Look at that.
Look
at that.
I have a nice little pour. But what did Alex send you, Kenji?
Here's one of the ones she sent me: the Naked Sunbather. I mean, you gotta like that. What a good name that is. By the Mad Swede. That's a nut brown ale. Won some awards. Hey, we're gonna try it. Thank you, Alex, for sending this. And yeah, Matthew, maybe I'll get some to you. She said she's going to send us some more because her husband felt like the beer that she brought us could be better. And what he doesn't understand is, I respect that. What he doesn't understand is, hey, we'll drink whatever people send us. We're happy either way. But if they want to send some more, we're cool.
Good
Cheers,
deal.
brother.
The
Naked Sunbather. Not bad. Going down all right. It's
that looks like more my kind of beer than your kind of beer.
Yeah, it's not real heavy. It's a 5%er, so that's like half of what you typically want to drink.
Yeah. Well, I just drink two of them. Okay, so what are we predicting, dude?
Okay, Matthew, here we go. There is no order to this. I normally don't give you this. I don't give you any warning. I haven't prepared for this either, just to be fair.
Okay.
Very much. Except for, I do want you to remember we're doing this in 4 spots, right? We'll take some turns just so you don't get ahead of yourself. We're going to go from macro to micro. So first, global prediction. It's just things happening in the world for next year in 2023. Second, we're going to go into just the profession, the accounting profession. What's going to happen in our profession? Third, some Acuity predictions. What's going to happen at Acuity? And then fourth, just some kind of personal stuff. Could be about you, just whatever. I don't know. Got to bring it down. Make sense?
Okay. That sounds great.
I didn't give either. I had a little bit more warnings as I planned this, but I didn't really think about it. I'll go first on the global predictions.
Okay.
I'm a little worried about next year in the economy. I'm a little nervous. I'd be especially nervous on anything kind of B2C or consumer spending. I feel like I'm just going to be super curious to watch once we get out of the holiday spending, which I feel like is kind of always nuts. Like, are people going to stop in Q1 and go, oh shit, like my credit card balance is pretty high.
So what's your prediction, dude? That's kind of wussy. What are we going to look at? What metric are we going to look at the end of 23 to see if Kenji's prediction comes through?
There's going to be a recession. I think there's going to be.
You're calling an official recession by the definition of recession. For how many of the 4 quarters will we be in recession in 2023?
3 of the 4.
3 of the 4. Okay.
3 of the 4. I think we'll see consumer spending tank. I think people are going to get nervous about debt, personal debt. That's that. And I'd be a little worried. And some of this comes from our discussion with Liz. Liz would be here really setting things straight from Gusto and the Gustonomics team. But like, if I were a seller, a B2C seller, especially of luxury type goods or just kind of non-vitals. I don't know. I'd be worried. I'm a little concerned. I feel like that's going to kind of catch up to us next year. So,
Yep.
all right, big picture thinking. What other global large scale? What do you
I'm going
got?
to go crypto on you. Okay. I will say stable coins will surpass Bitcoin as the top market cap cryptos in 2023 by the end of 2023. There will be more market cap in a USD stablecoin collectively. Right now, there's three top ones: Tether and USDC and Binance's stablecoin that are USD. So their market cap will exceed Bitcoin's market cap at the end of the year, is my prediction.
Why is that?
Well, I think that's what people are using crypto for. People are using crypto for cross-border payments, and they don't want volatility, and they want efficient cross-border payments, and that's the volume is already past it. Like more people use stable coins on a day-to-day basis than Bitcoin. And so I think that'll translate into market cap. Like more dollar value in crypto will be stored in stable coins than Bitcoin.
Okay.
So I think crypto's real, and I think people don't like the volatility. They like the utility of it. So
Okay. I like that one.
That's a random prediction.
No, that's a great.
It's got a
what we're
long
here
way to
for.
go from a market cap perspective, but I think 2023 could be the year it passes. I think it's just a matter of time. I think in 3 years for sure, but I think in 2023 with some volatility, I think you could see it.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Let's see. We'll stick global, like large macro things.
Ooh, unemployment. Okay, I'm gonna challenge you.
What's my prediction on unemployment?
Yeah. So I don't know what employment is today, but it's pretty darn low. So what do you think the macro trend is from unemployment as it ends December 2022 versus December 2023, up, down, and by what order of magnitude?
I definitely think unemployment is going
U.S.
to
unemployment.
U.S. unemployment.
I don't have global figures, right?
I'm going to say that U.S. unemployment is going to have to go up, right? But I'll say a different kind of variation of that is, and I don't know how to really measure this. I think they've got to find better metrics for measuring worker production, because I think most of our economic data is still driven on FTEs. And I think there's just a ton. I think they're getting better at tracking contractors. That was something that we've talked about. But I think there's just a huge gap in the data. I think there's just a massive gap. I think there's an incredible amount of underreported people who are, it's like they're looking at it in terms of either employed or not employed. But like, what about people who are just trying to be employed enough? That's probably not the standard. And there's just so much of that. So I hope there's a real push for some better data around employment. I think unemployment's going to go up. If I'm predicting recession, I have to probably pair that with unemployment's got to go up in some way, shape, or form. But I hope the data materially changes so that we have better insights into what workers are looking for, how much work they're looking for versus am I not working or am I working? Just seems too binary. That's one of mine. I'll throw one. I was thinking about this. I'll throw one at you. It's just a weird time with social media and Twitter and all that. Like, you got any predictions for where social is going next year?
God, I hope it's for longer content. Man, the shorter TikTokization of like business tips and stuff like is driving me crazy.
And you're the one putting them out there.
Dude, I'm giving that's what the algorithms are rewarding. It sucks. It's awful. So I'm hoping at least we get to at least 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
You're hoping for long form. Okay.
We saw some indications of that. Evidently, TikTok's allowing people to expand up to 3 minutes, which is a huge move. So I think that's the way my hope, it has to move that way. People have to get a little bit longer. So I think a little bit longer form content. So somewhere in that medium space, I, I think things over 30 seconds, under 5 minutes will be the sweet spot next year, as opposed to the 15-second stupid, like just soundbite, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
my
think, how about this
prediction.
one?
It has to get better. Quality has to get better.
Yeah. Do you think Twitter will get better under Elon? And I'm trying to think of a good way we could figure out what does better mean in something that's measurable some next year versus today. I
So
don't know the user count
I think, I hope so. I have a strong feeling about this, though. I think Elon is taking it the right direction if he gets himself out of the way. Like, I don't like that he's ending up in my feed. I think that just pisses me off. But so if he moves Twitter away from advertising into a subscriber paid model, I'm actually fine with that. Like, I'm ready to sign up for the $8 Twitter Blue and fund Twitter, so I don't have to have ads, so that advertisers
Agreed.
aren't influencing my thing. Like, if that is the outcome of him buying Twitter and we have to sustain Twitter through our, like, our funding it so we don't have ads, I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with that in several areas of my life, and some of the groups that I'm in too, where we're like, that have relied historically on advertising or sponsors. I'm moving people away from that and saying, let's control our own destiny and fund it ourselves and do what we want.
Yeah. I think you hear people talk about wartime and peacetime CEOs. I mean, he's an animal as a wartime CEO, right? He just feels like who would ever want to go up against him? But I wonder about if they can get it more into a peacetime situation where, or maybe he'll perpetually keep it in this disruptive state. I agree. I think that's one of the top concerns with Twitter is just he could come in there and completely kind of blow things up. I think some of the moves he's made so far are promising. I think they're going to keep getting more and more users on it, but it's just so interesting about whether or not they're going to be able to handle all this and deal with all this banning and free versus free speech. And how do you walk that line? I think it's very difficult. I think he'll probably bring some transparency into the algorithms, the things that are used. He seems pretty big on that, but I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
certainly believe there'll be more users on Twitter next year. This seems to be growing very rapidly.
Yeah, I see people getting off of it. I'm going the other way.
I think most,
I'm gonna
I
put
think
my
most people
credit
are
card
jumping on it.
in and go
Yeah.
Twitter Blue and fund it, just so I can control the ads, hopefully. So I'm
All
sick of
right.
some of the other platforms that I'm the product. I mean, it's free to me. That means I'm the product.
That's what
Like,
it
I'm
means.
so ready. I would pay for Facebook. I would pay for Instagram. I would pay for anything where I could avoid advertising being presented to me in my feed.
Yep.
So I hope
Absolutely.
that's a model that catches on. I think that will have to be a feature of Twitter Blue.
Well, just pay for it. I think I get it. If they were more transparent with, here's the algorithm. If you sign up for free, we control the algorithm. If you pay, you get to control the algorithm however you want, or just take it away. But you can
Yep.
say exactly how you want things served up to you. I mean, that would be, I think, a big change in a lot of platforms of just us being able to control the algorithm. Who wouldn't want? There's too much data out there, too much news to sift through. I would love an algorithm that I can control as the user, that
I
I
mean,
get to, and then let it loose on everything, on my, Google search, on everything. I'd probably prefer that, but
yeah.
and to pay for it. I'd be, to your point, I'd be willing to pay for that too.
So we'll see
All
if
right.
it works. He's the first one that's going to try it. So
Well, he'll
hopefully that
try it.
works. I think that's the shift people are missing.
Yeah.
I think they bitch about the privacy thing. That's just really complicated. Free speech and privacy, that's a whole thing, right?
Yikes.
But the model switch to where where you're not the product anymore, I think that's the thing I think Elon gets.
I think so. I think he definitely does. Um, let's go to the accounting profession.
Woo.
Let's go to that one. Let's go a little closer to home.
Okay.
What's I'll go first on this one. I'll give you some time. I know one of the predictions has been that there's going to be a lot more of the large firms taking private equity, going the
Okay.
alternative firm model. And I think that's true. So there's no, I mean, I won't call that a prediction. I think that will happen. But I also think, let's see, how do I frame this?
I have a
There are,
question. I have a
yeah,
question for you for that.
okay.
Do you think that will fundamentally change how accounting firms are valued? Will it increase it for accounting firm owners? Like, will private equity coming into accounting increase the value of accounting firms in general?
I believe it will increase the valuation of accounting firms in general over this first cycle for sure. It's going to bump it up for this first cycle. We're going to need to see some exits in the 5 to 7 year window. Like I think they're going to get bumped up higher. I think they're low right now. I think private equity is good. It's going to bump things up, but we'll need to see these first few rounds in 5 to 7 years, right? When they need to return back the fund. Maybe that'll bump valuations up even higher. If they get some nice bumps on those or recaps, or it could go the other way again. Like, you know what? There was too much money in the system and private equity is looking for somewhere to put it. These aren't as good of investments as we thought. So
So
I think short term,
if you're like 57 to 65 right now, take the money and run.
take it,
That's your heck
get
yeah.
it, go get it. I totally agree. And then we'll see what happens, right? Otherwise, people are making bets about 5 to 7 years, what the economic cycle is going to look like, what these firms are going to look like. So yeah, I think that's my prediction there. But I I wonder if, and here's a place to where that valuation could get impacted. They're going to have to go on this large roll up model, right? They're going to have to start rolling firms up. I I don't think that's going to be as easy as people think, and not just because of the mechanics of it. Um, I think it makes sense for smaller firms who are today on the top 500 list that are traditional accounting firms. I think a whole host of, I think about people in our space are not going to have any interest in joining an accounting firm unless they materially change the structure of how they're operating. I think most people in the cloud accounting space left it for a reason. They're like,
Yeah.
I've been there, I've done that. Like, right? You're going to have to write me an astronomical check if you want me to step back into that environment. I left because of that environment. So they're going to have to prove that, yeah, they're going to take the private equity and they're really going to change the environment if they want to bring on cloud accounting firms, which is where the industry is going. If they want to gobble up old school traditional audit tax, they can do that, but there's a more finite number of those, right? Maybe that's the plan,
I
is
don't
to be
know.
the first ones to go grab as much market share of the top 300 and just collapse all those. Maybe that's enough to get the numbers they need in 5 to 7 years. But I think there's going to be some, as they move into this other segment of the cloud accounting space, these are a bit the rebellious ones who are like, nah, I left that. I'm not into it for the big paycheck. I'm into it, for other reasons. And I don't, not that that may be on any of their roadmaps. If it is to modernize through acquisition of more modern CAS consulting firms, I think it's going to be harder for them. So I don't see as many. I see that as a potential challenge down the road if that's on the roadmap for some of these firms that took PE of, oh, great, I want to go out there and grab some modern firms, because those modern firms may be like, sorry, I don't know. What about you in the profession? What else?
It's hard not to think of the app partner ecosystem
I was
and
going there
how
next. Yeah.
effed up what you're calling it different now. What did you call it the other day? You called it something great. You like him. What'd you call it? You called the space something different than we've called it in the past. It was like not expense management.
Oh,
It was
spend management.
spend management.
Yeah.
So like the observation we have, you look at Gusto, you look at Expensify, you look at Ramp, you look at Divi and Bill.com, and you look at all of these companies. And I think being around Expensify lately has really crystallized this for us. It's like they specialize in getting money from one person or entity to another person, like agnostic of it, whether it's payroll, expense management, credit cards, whatever it is. So at least I think 2023 is the year where that gets completely blurry and just blacked out, and people like I didn't realize that was coming, and I mean, it just looks like a tidal wave now to me
It
that
does.
the spend management is going to be the platform, and it's going to encompass everything. And I think that goes from people getting app fatigue and tired of using 6 different apps for different app for international, different app for domestic, a different app for payroll. I think, and I think Expensify is the one to watch. It's like unbelievable to me what they're doing right now. And just listening to Dave on that podcast with Scott and Nicole, like you're just like, oh, and I know you got spend some time with Dave and Anu last or about a week and a half ago. So getting some of those insights to me is really, I think everybody's going to be surprised by it if they haven't looked at some of these platforms in a while. If you've taken a 2-year break from looking at Expensify, like when you go in and see payrolls offered, like it's just gonna, I think people are just gonna start.
I think that's a great observation. It's hard to realize.
It's weird. It's I don't know that how that's a prediction, but like our categories as we used to talk about them at Acuity are just we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I think
categories have changed. Yeah. I think for all the accounting firms, the categories have changed. What you thought was expense reporting, what you thought was virtual cards, what you thought was bill payment is something bigger, right?
What you thought was payroll,
even
right?
payroll.
Because payroll's getting into reimbursements.
It's bigger.
Like it's just like, it's just you saw it with Gusto getting into 1099 contractor payments. You saw it with an expense reimbursements, and you saw it with Expensify now launching payroll in their cards. And I mean, Expensify is the farthest ahead from a suite perspective. Like they seem to have everything, but I think Ramp and Divvy and these other ones are going to go the other way too. Like I think they're all going to start getting each other's space.
Yeah,
they're going to be in people's grills.
Very much so. What started, it seemed, to your point about these small segmented point solutions, are really making a move after a spend management platform, like a full platform of spend. If you can spend money somewhere, those companies are making big moves to control all of spend, not a piece of it, all of it. And I think you're right. That's a good prediction. That is in the works happening. They're working on it. I think the accounting community is going to start catching up and going, oh, this is different. We got to rethink the way we're going to advise on this to clients. So good one. Good one. I'm going to add it. Okay. I'm going to go with a bold one here, right? I'm almost going against
Kenji's bold prediction of the year.
This is more of an idiotic, probably one. But kind of going up against what I just said, my earlier prediction about, the modern firms would never go work for one of these who took private equity. You know who might?
Who?
Maybe the real tech one. Maybe you get this interesting cycle where all of a sudden there's PE flush with the top 25. And guess what? Valuations are down for those who took venture. Pilot, Bench, others who go,
you might see like a Pilot, a venture, or maybe change leaders over there. Like maybe one of them.
One of them might go. That might be the move. Is you say, okay, all of a sudden one of them says, well, it's going to be a difficult funding cycle.
Ceteris too. Oh yeah.
There are some of those. There's a lot of these that took venture. This may be the time, if you're in one of the top 25 firms, to go after one of those really modern, more almost software plays, because they may have a little bit of fatigue around capital raising, or there's a nice valuation. It kind of may have this nice balance, at least of a marketing balance, of like where suddenly the top 25 firms now have access to capital. They could actually go spend on something. And there may be a time when you may get investors in some of those, the tech startups who go, yeah, maybe it's time for us to go ahead and get liquid on this.
So which way does it go though? So you're talking about like Pilot, Indinero, Bench, and Ceteris. Those are the 4, right? Well, I guess it could be anybody. It could be Propeller, Conceros. Is it that?
Concero,
like anybody that's taken like that, or you think it's the 4 that it took venture?
If you've got true outside capital, I mean, there's the big ones, right, that took venture. But if you've got outside capital,
so you think one of those people I mentioned, those 6, will one of those 6 will join a accounting firm,
a top 25 firm,
a top 25 firm. Oh, that's just brilliant. That's a great prediction. I love that prediction.
You like that? That kind of just
I like that. That's a
me.
Cool,
got to get a little. And people. We are drinking and thinking there's no knowledge
No,
of
we don't have inside information. Well,
jack
yeah,
shit that's
we
happening.
got all inside information
I
about
mean, yes,
how
we
the
do, of
top
course,
25
but
are thinking.
not really. Interesting.
Oh, okay. What's the next category we got to go to?
Acuity predictions. What's
Acuity
going to
predictions.
happen at Acuity in the next
Um,
few years? You go first on this one.
I'm going to predict
I'm
that.
worried.
I'm going to predict that Expensicon is the best Acuity trip of the year.
Expensicon or
Yes.
AcuityCon?
Expensicon is the best trip anybody from Acuity takes all year.
That's come on, make a good one. Make one that's like that's a no brainer. I mean, they just ball
I don't
out
know.
over Expensicon.
That's terrible. That's the safe bet.
That's safe. You can do better than that. That's a layup.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. We tend to do well in down markets. Like people get scared and we kind of put the thing down. So I'm gonna say
down, yeah.
we're gonna hit 12.5 in revenue next year because we're gonna lean into the gas pedal a little bit more about March, April, May when everybody else slows down. I think it's going to be a hell of a year for us. I think we've got 2 years of infrastructure, 3 years of infrastructure behind us. No acquisitions on the horizon. It's the first time we can put the pedal down. It's not the plan to do that, but I think we're going to have to keep up with our sales team this year like we haven't in the past. And I think we've fixed some of the. I think we're becoming a better place to work more and more and more, and we're really kind of coming into our own in that. So I think this will be the first time we actually hit a number. I think we're going to blow it away by about $500,000. So I think instead of hitting 12, we'll hit 12.5.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
12.5 in revenue next year.
I like that one. All right. I'm going to go with, I think tax surpasses CFO this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I think tax gets past CFO. I think we've seen some really good ads on the tax team this year. Things are kind of stabilizing. I think we've got some new pieces of technology, I think, under Intuit Practice Management. So they've got a real workflow over there. They're starting to kind of hone in on. I think Sergio's leadership. I think that team's coming together. And we've kind of had to downplay some of our tax work because we had so many people want to rush to it. I feel like we're in a much better position where that can grow. I think that interesting. I'd like to maybe that'll light a fire under CFO. It's not meant to. That team's great, but it's been our oldest practice. So that's hardest for us to kind of innovate sometimes. It's definitely the hardest to scale. It's hard to scale over there. So I'm going to go, and if I'm wrong, hey, great. That means CFO had a great year and they got a little competitive, but I'm going to say that's a bold one. I think tax could have a year. Tax could have a year next year.
Yeah. Wow. What a deal. That's a cool prediction.
What else you got?
What? That's an interesting thing to think about. I wonder. I was just thinking out. I'm going to think out loud since it's me thinking in my head.
That's
really,
how you do it.
Really bored, dead air for a podcast. I was trying to think if we could do something around like a bold prediction being when over half of our people are international instead of domestic.
I was just going to ask you about international versus domestic.
Yeah, I think that's like a 2025 thing, but
I was going to say I don't think it's next year.
I don't think it's next year. But wow, it's hard not to think there'll be more and more team members internationally. We already have Greece, Argentina, right? St. Louis. We're 33%, right?
33% right now. Yep, right there. So where do you think we get to by the end of the year next year?
Oh, I don't think we make that big of a dent. I don't think we crack 40%.
I don't think so either.
It goes up, but it doesn't. It's an interesting thought exercise. I do think, well, I guess it just depends which practice lines blow up. Like if bookkeeping like really blows up,
We'll have to
like
scale it more
we would have to scale it more, and we're doing all
internationally.
those.
Yep.
We're kind of like that's where the marketing's going right now. So it's just interesting. I don't know. That would be a cool one to do. I don't have a bold prediction on that one though. I think it's modest. I think it's like a 37%
Okay.
of the people next year if we look at that. Um, man, I'd love to I think next year's going to all be about our people, both in the States
Oh yeah.
and I know personally, like that's one of my personal goals next year is to really dig back in on the with our controller team on like training and education and CPE. Hopefully, I've been noodling a lot on that. It's I've kind of gotten away from that, and I really want to get back into it. And so I don't have a bold prediction about that. I I will do that bold prediction. I think we'll be offering our employees CPE courses that we develop by the end of the year.
Oh, I like it.
I think I think I think we could pull that off. That is something I'm really so like I think we have like 38 CPAs and I think we're doing them an injustice right now. I think by the end of the year we've got to be offering CPE
I like that. Our
internally
own internal CPE. I would love that.
So I either got to
mostly
get
because I hate all other CPE outside of stuff that Earmark does.
yeah, I was like, we either got to
us-
be real, we got to be real nice to Amanda and Blake and get them probably to use their NASBA licenses. I don't think I can get a NASBA license by the end of the year, but I think we got to be
Figure
nice to those
something out. All right,
folks.
we try to always be nice to them, but yeah, we could even be nicer, I assume.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be like, it's got to be like AcuityCon. We got to get CP back in there, but like,
Yeah, we do.
but I'm talking about like a programmatic CPE,
Yeah.
not just one. So if I do one CPE class, that doesn't count. Controllers, you can call me out.
Yeah. All right, since we're running out of beer and we're going short on time here, let's go into the personal predictions. This is kind of for you, yourself, or anything else you're interested in that we haven't talked about.
Well, I have goals. I don't really have predictions.
Yeah, they could maybe. I guess they'll maybe end up that way. So goals and predictions personally may be good if they're interesting. I'll go with. I think by next year, at this time, I'll have actually have traveled more than I did this past year.
Oh wow!
And that,
oh, I got one,
honey. If you're listening, I'm a little bit sorry about that. Or maybe she's like, no, good. No,
well, I don't know. We'll have to definitely.
It was a lot.
We'll have to definitely get the Philippines
I think it's
trip
gonna be
in
more
to get it by miles. If it's just by miles or trips, that would be an interesting thing.
I think.
Okay, I have one.
Yeah.
I have one, and this is Matthew's lock prediction of the year. Ready? I will beat Kenji in a push-up contest next year. Like with our trajectory and my strength getting bigger and him, God, he's getting so old and hurt. And like he's gonna be he's gonna be 50 and he's gonna be and his back's gonna still hurt. Like by Q3 offsite, like I am out push Q2 offsite. I out push up Kenji at the Q2 offsite. That is my bold.
That is. Oh, I love it.
That's the lock prediction of the year, folks. The lock prediction of the year. Matthew beats Kenji in push-up contest.
You just ensured that will never happen. I cannot wait. I'm going to be so pumped. That's what I love it. I love a good challenge. I love it. Okay. Matthew thinks he's going to beat me in push-ups. You didn't mention though whether we're also doing the combined tequila plus push-ups or is it just push-ups?
We can do. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it matters.
Oh, well, I mean, I have an unfair advantage if you do tequila in there. Like, I think you have an advantage if it's just straight push-ups. I think you still beat me last time on both, but because you were better at push-ups, not because you were better at tequila.
I don't know. You're kind of hitting on two things I'm pretty good at. Usually working out and also acting like an idiot with alcohol. Those are two things, unfortunately, that I usually pair well together. Okay, that's a good one. Let's go with another one here too. Give me your Falcons prediction for next year. Go ahead this early.
Oh,
What
this early?
for next
Oh,
year for the
oh my God.
20?
We got 86 million in free cap if we cut Mariota, dude.
I
86
know it.
million. So
That's what I
that's
want to
like
hear.
pick without knowing 2/3 of your team.
Yep.
Oh man.
Call a
Then
prediction.
11-6. 11-6 next year. Well, I mean, how do we not improve on this whatever ragtag group that we have here? 11-6 next year, coming out of the blue, making the playoffs.
We don't even know who we do. We even know who we have in other divisions.
No,
You
I
know,
don't even know anything. That's a cold.
But
That's
I
a
do think
homer prediction.
our division's going to be in shambles, much like they are this. If we were if we were better this year, you could rip
If
through
we're
this.
9-8 this year, we would go to the playoffs.
I
But we're
know.
not going to be 9-8, so
Well, let's just not get too hasty.
it's
there.
tough. What did I say? 7-10 this year?
I think
I
so.
called 7-10 this year, and we're what, 5-8? It's
Yep.
going to be close.
It's gonna be close. It's
So
gonna
you're
be
saying
close.
there's a chance. That was
All right.
7-10 was a bold prediction because over under in Vegas was 4.5. So should have taken the over on that because we already paid that.
We didn't do much of any of that when we were in Vegas this time around. All right. Any other personal ones you want to do? Or let's probably wrap it up here. Going a little long. I think you're out there.
I did want to tell Alex to feel better and everybody out there, please have a happy and wonderful and safe holidays with your families.
Please do that. We'll rate some beer while we're here. I got the Naked Sunbather. Love the name. I actually really enjoyed the beer. So I'm going to say, I know that, again, Alex's husband, Xander, was like, nah, not a best representation. Come on. I thought this was great. I'm going to go a 4.25 on it. I think there's some bump ups there just from a friend sending this and, all that, a little bit of that friend love.
You get the quarter point bump with a friend. That's
absolutely.
All right.
You absolutely get that. I don't know what that was. Okay. So, and you again, you're drinking the Blue Moon.
The Blue Moon.
Legendary classic Blue Moon.
Kind of just a classic. Oh, get that
which
rating. Get it.
Which for some reason we've never even rated it before.
Oh, we're going with a 4. We're going to 4 flat 4. There's no way that's a 3.5. That's a 4. That's a solid beer. It's a 4.25 with an orange, but it's a 4.
Oh, there you go. I like that. 4.25 with the orange. If you're going to do it right that way.
But it's not. It doesn't come with an orange, so like you don't get that rating just out of the can. So not cool. But happy holidays, everybody. Please
happy
subscribe.
Holidays. Happy New Year. All the good things.
Send us beer and come join us on a podcast in 2023. We'd really like to have you. We're really enjoying hanging out with folks on the podcast. So
we are. Look forward to it in January when we roll in. We've got a bunch of guests already lined up for January. We're starting to book these out in the future. So if you want to be on, you're probably talking February, March timeframe.
We got Jamie who Practice Protect coming, right?
Yep, we got Ben from Keeper coming on as well.
Ben from Keeper, and we're gonna go head to head with the
we'll have Patty
verify Q comparisons. Oh, we got Patty Scharf.
Patty's going to be coming on a more regular guest basis to kind of talk about some of the crazy things she's doing with automation and processes. Our process queen is going to come on and show some things that we're doing that folks might be interested in. So we got a lot of good stuff lined up for next year.
We got a lot of good people, a lot of friends teed up for next year.
If you'd like to come on there and do that and have a drink, we'd love to have you. So cheers, everyone. Happy New Year.